Hello, everybody. It's Michael Finkley with The Michael Finkley Show.
And I'm Nicole with Conversations with Nicole. You can join me Wednesdays at 9 a.m. on all of my streaming platforms.
Well, Nikki, don't forget about The Michael Finkley Show, Mondays, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the CTR Media Network.
Join us.
It's LaVon Lewis from the Queen's Court on Peacock, and you're watching The Michael Finkley Show.
Are you looking for a show full of joy, comfort, and laughter? Well, watch The Michael Finkley Show, Mondays, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the CTR Media Network, YouTube, and all podcast platforms.
There's a new familiar face this time. Say hello to the new daytime. See it everywhere you go. New and the greatest show. It's no other than The Michael Finkley Show. There is no other. He's like no other. I'm so glad that someone resonates with me. So it's time to
Everybody, welcome back to The Michael Finkley Show. Now, y'all, my next guest, he is making some strides when it comes to being on television, his music, and also making his Broadway debut. But he's going to talk about all of that as well in this interview. He's none other than Phillip Johnson Richardson, aka Phil. How are you?
What's up? How you doing?
I am super, uber well, fantastic. Yeah, we'll go with that route.
I love it.
Yeah. We'll go with that. Yeah. Believe it or not, Think Fam, Tula Country Carolina boys chatting it up.
That's how we do it, baby. That's how we do it.
Chatting it up. I love it. So you have conquered so much in this small amount of time you've been on this earth, right? Why is it so important in 2024 to actually grasp on all of our gifts and talents?
Well, one, I feel like the pandemic taught us that life is short. Nothing is promised. Tomorrow is not promised. You feel me? So and I've kind of always been like a pretty obsessive person about stuff that I enjoy doing. Like when I first got into theater, it was my thing. I was like, oh, I got it. Like I studied it every day. And then when I started writing music, I started writing every day. And then when I started wanting to do television, I started being like submitting myself a bunch of places. And then once I got an agent, it was different. But I just feel like the pandemic specifically taught me that there is no tomorrow that is promised. So just go for it all. And like, even if that means betting on yourself more than anybody else bets on you, do that. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of sort of been my motto. Since 2019 I was into it, but then like I said, the pandemic just really was like, it put everything in perspective. Like, oh my gosh. And I went through my own personal stuff around that time. Like I had some issues that I was going through, like some substance things that I was like really dealing with, to be quite frank. But I was like, oh shit, once I got past that, can we curse? Ooh.
You're good.
Okay, good. But I was like, once I got past that, I was like, oh shoot, like I could conquer damn near anything. So, and like, really focusing on this for me was a big thing. And now that I feel like I got more of a grasp on everything, I just said I have to go for everything, and I have an understanding of my personality, my talent, my body, my everything. You know what I'm saying? My being. I have more of an understanding of it, and like, our mortality is like, shoot, why not just do everything I can? Why not? Yeah.
I think we became a little bit more woke, right, to our feelings of our mental stability, our peace during this pandemic, because I always say in interviews myself, when people interview me, whenever that happens, this show came from my pain. This show actually, I was going through a lot as well, but I said, if I can just talk with somebody and encourage them, maybe I'll feel better in the process. And it works, right? It allowed me to get through whatever I needed to get through to get to that next level, or whatever they may look like to sound like, right? And so that's why I feel like we're talking today in that right. So thank you for sharing that. It's very important. Very important.
Absolutely.
So which came first? Was it television? Was it music? Was it the theater? Which came first for you?
My love and my heart is always in theater. That's where I started. That's where my journey of being an artist that all started when I was like a kid. I've always been an artist. I just didn't know it. I just always thought like I was a weird kid. That's what it was. And then once I got into theater, it all kind of made sense. I was like, oh, these are the people I need to be around. I'm not like a, and now I feel like because of that, and I figured that I can be around anybody. But that was my first thing. I did theater. And then I went to, I did like my first musical in 7th grade, which was the WIZ. And then what did I do after that? I went to an art school. I went to an arts high school, which was a free public art school in Charlotte, North Carolina, called Northwest School of the Arts. It was the shit. It was like, yo, it was crazy because it was a lot of Black folks too. Because it was on, I don't know if you ever been to Charlotte, but Beatties Ford Road is like, okay, but that's where it get a little active over there. But that's where our school was, and it was a public school, and they basically accepted anybody. But it was a huge Black community over there. And then from that, I went to a conservatory for musical theater. And then while in that conservatory, I started to, because of me feeling like I wasn't really being understood as a person and as an artist, I started to like kind of do my own thing. So I started to write music in like my friend's dorm room. And then I just got serious about it after that. And then my senior year, I also started to do I did my first movie my senior year. My scene got cut from the movie, but it was this movie called Haunt that was released in theaters. And they had the courtesy of like letting me know like, hey, your scene's gonna get cut. But then that kind of gave me the bug because I wanted to do it. Then after that, I started doing a bunch of stuff. And then now I'm here, and it all kind of like has like morphed into me doing everything at once. But sometimes one thing takes precedence and the other thing takes precedence, which is kind of the beauty of everything. But right now it's like everything is kind of at full force. The TV stuff is a little bit on the back burner, not back burner, but it's still cooking though. Don't get it twisted. But that's like, that's the next goal. But this, like the music and the theater stuff is right now is like kind of really taking force because the WIZ has been my life for the past 6 months now. Really for the past year and some change. I got the role around this time last year, which is crazy.
So let's talk about the WIZ, right? Let's definitely talk about the WIZ. Do you feel that this is like a full circle moment for you? Like Broadway, here Phil comes. He's coming. How do you feel?
I feel good. No, this is definitely a full circle moment. This being like my introduction to any sort of theater, because it's the movie that I used to watch all the time as a kid with my mom and stuff like that. Like we used to have a few movies, but this one was our joint. This is our shit. You know what I'm saying? We're like, let's watch the WIZ, whatever. And Michael Jackson was my shit, and then I auditioned for it because around that time when I was kind of becoming like an artist, a theater kid, whatever, I started singing, and my mom was like, "Oh, they're doing the WIZ at middle school. You should go audition for it." I auditioned for it, and then a full circle moment on the tour. I actually got to go to my hometown to perform the show. So like my theater teacher from 7th grade got to see me in a show. I did an interview with her on the local news channel. I did my own music show on a Friday night. It was like a bunch of stuff was happening, and like people were like, "Bro, this is crazy looking at you from middle school, and coming over there." But now for this to be my Broadway debut, because I've had a lot of almost Broadway debuts because I've worked, not to like, toot my own horn, but I've worked quite a bit in the industry, but this is like finally the one that has come to the fruition. Like I've done a lot of workshops that were like, this is going to Broadway, this is going to Broadway, this is going to, and then it just like didn't come to fruition, which is, I'm actually so glad that this is going to be the thing that takes me to like, because it's, you know what I'm saying? It's just so close to home, and it feels so like me and who I am right now. So it's crazy. I feel like I am super blessed and super excited for this.
I tell you, come on. When you work hard and believe in what you do, these type of things happen. Say, look. I'm just saying. And so your part is going to be actually the Tin Man, right? And so how are you going to make it feel?
That is so funny you asked me that. Because everybody who sees the show and who knows me, they're like, "Yo, bro, you like," and I'm not gonna give away too much because if you haven't seen it, there obviously are videos that creep online, but there's some videos of me out there. But it is so like, because the way that we've worked it, I'll just give this. The way that we worked it is that like I'm not doing the whole like he stuck the whole show. Like I kind of give it some swag because we after a lot some oil, I get lubricated. It's like, all right, bet now I got joints. So I'm like, I'm 10, but I'm more like aluminum or something like, you know what I'm saying? I got a little flexibility to me. So I definitely use that to my advantage. And credit to our director, Shelley Williams, she allowed me to kind of just bring my own spin to it. So it definitely is like I'm kind of being me in a way, but obviously within the circumstances of the show. The ridiculous circumstances. And also just my shout out to my co-stars too, Nichelle Williams, Avery Wilson, and Kyra Mar Freeman. We all are like, we have built a bond, and I love them so much. And we play around on stage like in the best of ways, and we're also all around the same age, so it just kind of works that way. Where like in the original version of the WIZ and the musical, they're a lot older than Dorothy, and we are happen to be just around her age. So it's like it's kind of fly, you know what I'm saying? Like we get to like really just be ourselves, and that also plays into the part of how I get to bring myself, and I get to differentiate myself from Avery and Kyle in the show. It's really cool. It's really cool.
We're excited to see it, man. When is this happening?
Our first, well, right now, like we've been on tour for about 5 months, and we're about to end in LA. We are our last show is March like 2nd or 3rd. It's like the first whatever of March, the first weekend of March, excuse me. And then we start previews on Broadway March 29th. So we have like a little break, and we have some rehearsals in between. March 29th is our first previews, and then we're rehearsing during the day and then doing the show at night up until April 17th, I think, is our opening night. So it's been like a go. And I still gotta find an apartment and everything in New York too, but we're gonna be fine though. It's gonna be cool.
Of course you are. You're gonna be fine. Yeah, everything works out. My mom always said, get the job first, and everything else fall into place.
Amen.
And it does every time. Mama ain't never lied.
Always. Never.
It's always right. It's always right. So since this is a big musical, right, that we're so used to, and you're bringing it to the stage, let's talk about your music, right? I got a chance to listen to your music, and it's just so unique and genuine in its own way. It's Phil. It really is Phil. So when people listen to your music, right, how do you want them to feel?
You know, that's kind of a tough question, because I don't really, selfishly, I don't think about too much about what other people feel, because when creating art, like I don't, and this is a I don't want to say a selfish answer, but this is kind of sort of the way I just like, I'm like, I want to create something that like I think is sonically good, something that the source matter is, it's genuine, like you said. I don't want to ever make no shit to be like, oh, I want this to be a hit. No, I want it to be like, this comes from like personal experience. I'm writing everything. Like sometimes I have help, but like, you know, I rap too, so like I write all my shit. You know what I'm saying? I can't. It's the whole like MC thing. You can't let nobody else write your rhymes. So like I do everything, and then I kind of just form what it sounds like, and then whatever. But I think really what it is that I want people to like, because I do a thing intentionally where I don't like people to know too much about me, to be completely honest, because it's like, because then people come up to you being like, yo, like, how's your family doing? And I'm like, whoa, bro. It's like, I've experienced that before. And I'm like, hold on. Like, I'm a pretty, relatively, though it may not seem like it, because I'm a pretty outgoing person, I like to keep certain things private. But part of my music is like exposing a side of myself that I will probably never say, like in a certain amount of detail that I would never say. So like, you'll find out certain things about my love life, but then you have to kind of like go decipher what's like a little stretched and what's not. So I think I just really want people to like kind of just enjoy themselves, because I give like different vibes. I like turn up music. I also just like chill, relaxing music. I like to sing. I like to, you know what I'm saying? So my music is very me, and so like feel me, I guess I'll say that.
We're feeling Phil.
Right.
Yeah, we are feeling Phil. That's what we're doing here. And again, as you were talking about your music, I definitely I see the relatability factor. Like, even though you make it for self, right? Because I feel that's your side of like relief, and this is how you express yourself. But so many people can relate to that, right? And there's some people like, okay, they're listening to it. It's like, I want to learn more about him, but that means I have to listen to the next song to learn more, then the next album to learn more. So it's kind of like you can't eat one bag of chips. You got to eat it all. You got to go back for it. I think that's the type of music that people are getting from you. So kudos to you in that right. Not only music, but television. We've seen you on our screens. Chicago PD, The Last OG, the list continues. What do you want that next big role to look like?
That's wow. I haven't really thought about that, because in that world, you kind of just like, you kind of like do what comes to you. And I've been fortunate enough to not like play one specific kind of role. So because I think I can do kind of a multitude of things. But I do think so I do think that something I'm interested in doing next is like a love interest role, like a romantic comedy movie or something like that. Because that's my bag. That's like one of my favorite styles and genres. That's one of my favorite genres is like romantic comedy. I love that. Like I love love. I love the idea of love. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of really a lot that I write about. I write about love. So I'm like, I would love to just it be whether it's like the lead of a movie or just the romantic love interest. I've auditioned for a few of them. I got close to them, like I got callbacks and I'm talking to the director or whatever. Then it just doesn't come to fruition or whatever way. That's fine too. But that would be amazing. And then on top of that, would be cool is to be able to write something for the soundtrack of whatever said movie. That's kind of like the lane that I want to do because it's like even if it has nothing to do with my character, I just would love to write like and be a part of a soundtrack of a movie. And I know it'll come for sure. But I think that would be cool.
Of course. My best friend always says when we say things, our words are listening. So then that means that it has to happen. You put it out there. It has
That's
to happen.
true.
So it's going to happen. So when it happens, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that conversation we had a while ago. He has said this, and he's doing this.
Right.
again, conquering television, music, we're Broadway. What's next? What do you want to do next?
What do I want to do next? I definitely think I said like the soundtrack thing. I would love to do that. I think I would love to like at some point, create my own television show or movie or like even like a play or something like that. I would love to do that. That sounds like a challenge that and that's not and my thing about this whole thing is that nothing like they say it takes 10 years to make overnight success. Nothing takes 1 year, something like that. And like that comes even when it comes to like everything that I've been doing. I've been working at this for years, even though it's a short amount of time. I've been working on it for years. And so like I want to do something like that is gonna take me a while. And then when I see it through at the end, it's so rewarding. So something like a play or a movie or a TV show and a successful one at that. Let me put that on that because a lot of people do a lot of things and it doesn't end up being successful. Which I mean, that success doesn't matter. But I'm also thinking like business wise, I got to start making money off of my product. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no money in music for real, until you get to a certain point. So a lot of this is out the love of it. So I would love to eventually do something like that, but then make a little revenue and also be able to like I have a bunch of artist friends that I collaborate with all the time and like. Because it's coming straight out of pocket, I can't pay them what they deserve, but I pay them obviously. But I want to like be like, nah, let me talk to the network. Nah, y'all got to pay them bread. Like y'all got to really pay them because they deserve it. They are some of the dopest people on this planet doing what they do. So I want to get to that point where I can like employ my homies for real.
Giving back,
Amen.
Paying it forward. Oh my word, definitely words to live by. So tell us one more time, how can we get our tickets to the WIZ? How can we get our tickets? Tell us what's up.
You go to the WIZ Broadway, type in the WIZ Broadway on Google. It should come up it should say it should come pop right up honestly. And again, we open on March 29th. That's when our previews start. That is when, and just so people understand where previews are, it's when our show we are performing every night, but we are changing everything during the day. So sometimes the reason that sometimes the tickets are a little cheaper is because we might have a hold during the show just due to like, oh, this tech element didn't have enough time to get worked in during the day. So now we have to like pause it at the night. But it's like that's the understanding of the previews. And then we open on April 17th, and that's when the show is open, and we're running full force. Also, a shameless plug, I have a show in New York, March 17th. I don't know if this will be out by then, but March 17th, I have a live music show at Mercury Lounge, featuring me, Carrie Blue, and Sonny Miles. We are all North Carolinians. And Carrie is based in New York, and Sonny is like touring around the world. He opened up for Mac Ayres and everything. So we're super excited about the show. So if y'all can come out, see us perform live on 17th at doors open at 5.
All right. We're gonna get the word out there for you. And how can we follow you on social media and listen to your incredible music?
You can follow me at Feels Good Music. That is PHILS Good Music. You can type that in anywhere. Most likely, probably Google that. But then my music is everywhere as Phil, PHIL with a period. And I should be the only Black person that comes up.
I love it. I love it. Go follow him, listen to his music, and find your way. And if you find your way in New York, just make it happen. Definitely make it happen. Thank you so much, Phil, for being with us, and much success to you in the future.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Big down the away. Coming up, we have Terrell Carter with us. Back in a moment.
Hey, my name's Greg McBride. I'm a writer and movie producer, and you are watching The Michael Finkley Show.
Next, Finkley. Host and author Justin Ford is with us. He talks about his YouTube series and his amazing children's book. Plus, Derek Washington tells us about his read-along children's show and the amazing children's books that he's authored. Monday.
Hello everybody, it's Finkley from the Finkley Experience. We're an educational consulting firm that specializes in first-generation education. So we assist students with their college and career endeavors. We train school administrators on the state of first-generation students. And also, we partner with colleges and universities to assist with their first-generation population for easy transition from high school to college. So if you're looking for a presenter or speaker that presents on these topics and so much more, visit our website at thefinkleyexperience.com and learn about all that we do. We're looking forward to working with you.
Looking for some of the best soul food right here in Mullen, South Carolina? I promise you, come on down to Garden Alley.
Our grape salad's fabulous, our watergate, our potato salad, our chicken is fresh, macaroni and cheese is salted to perfection. I haven't found anything that's not great. Best ever.
Banana pudding, cakes, pies. Yeah. Selection is huge. Garden Alley is an awesome place to eat. I really love it.
Come by and see the amazing staff at Garden Alley, downtown Mullins. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. Now, y'all, my next guest, I know you know who he is. He is the hardest working man in the industry, singer, author himself, Terrell Carter. How are you?
I'm wonderful, man. Excited to be here on the Michael Finkley Show. It's been a long time coming anyway, so I'm excited, and thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. Like I said before, I've been watching you from years on top of years, from the plays to the sitcoms to the movies to the you were always working.
Yes. Thank the Lord, I'm always working. I can't complain for, years. Ever since it started, I've always been working. So yeah.
Exactly. And to years to come as well.
I'm claiming it.
You better.
I'm claiming it. Yeah.
You better rock will. Listen. Did you always know that you wanted to be in front of a camera?
No, you know what? I was always a singer. Ever since I can remember, I would come home from church and like mimic all the people in the choir and mimic all the singers and lead singers. And I always would hear like Aretha Franklin and Stevie Wonder. And I thought everyone could sing like that. Because I could even at that young age, I just was like, oh, I could do that, and I would just sing and sing and sing, and so that's kind of how it started for me. And I thought everyone could sing. I never knew that I had some kind of a singing talent, or musical talent, or gift until a little later on, and I realized, I was in this a childhood group in our neighborhood that this lady put together, and she would always be like, my God, you can really sing. And at that time I was still learning to sing but it was so much better than, a lot of people. But, I really started and was rooted in music and singing.
I gotcha. And you've been singing ever since.
Ever since.
When did you truly find your voice?
I think that I found my voice once I started working. I left home and started working with Fred Hammond while he was doing Radical for Christ. That was my first gig, should I say, and working with Fred Hammond, he pulled so much out of me, but I was still trying to figure out who I was and what I could do, because I could do so many different things that it would shock me sometimes. I was like, wow, I can my voice is like this. And I always loved, like, the Clark sisters and people like that. So it was like listening to women singers who are so much more daring than just say regular, a male singer or whatever. I was always reaching for things like that, to take me somewhere else vocally. But I think I found my voice when I realized that I could sound like a Donny Hathaway with Karen Clark runs, but there was still something else that was supposed to be there. And I think that once God, and honestly, it's not just taking it so spiritual, but God did that for me. He gave me the gift, but yet at the same time gave me an eye and an ear to realize that I had a place and there was a place for me as well. So, right during the time when I went to the school of Fred Hammond and I was in the studio, and he's pulling and he's like, Terrell, you got something else. And it don't have to sound like Donnie. It don't have to sound like Karen. It doesn't have to sound like Aretha or Stevie, and during that time, as I transferred over to Quincy Jones and Tyler Perry, that's when I started learning and realizing, I can do this. Yeah.
And it shows because you sound like Terrell.
Yes, I try. Thank you.
You sound like Terrell. So at what point did you transition from this singer to now we're seeing you act?
In the when I Medea's class reunion, when I was with Fred Hammond, I met this girl named Pam Taylor, who actually used to sing background for the Clark sisters in Detroit. And she was playing the wife in Medea's class reunion. So she played my wife, and they were looking for a guy who could sing every night like that, but yet at the same time had the presence of a tall husband, or whatever. And she referred me, and the promoter just so happened to be the same promoter that put Fred Hammond, Yolanda Adams, and Kirk Franklin on tour together. So he knew me from when I was working with Fred and them, and Tam and David. They were still with Kirk Franklin when we were all on the road together. I was 16 at the time, and so doing that transition to Tyler Perry, Tam and David were over there, it had been some years, and they were like, oh, Terrell, yes, of course he can do it. So I got kind of like the double whammy where I got Tam and David, I got the promoter, and then I had Pam Taylor who referred me. So, it was real easy to kind of walk through that door.
I gotcha. And in that experience, because it sounds like a beginning point for you, right?
Yeah.
In that experience, what was going through your mind? Like, what were those feelings of, oh my gosh, I'm here, I'm doing this? Was it comfortable for you?
It was really comfortable for me, but I had already been working with people. I grew up with Stevie J, who people know from Love and Hip Hop, and he was a lot older, but he was like a brother to me, a big brother to me. Always, he would play as I sang because we were both from Buffalo, New York. So when he left to go be with Jodeci and P Diddy and all of them, I left and went, to go work with Fred Hammond. And ironically, on the last day of the tour, P Diddy and Stevie came to the show, and Stevie was like, "Oh, Terrell, you got to come do some vocals and writing for us." So I left and started working with them. Working with Stevie and while I was writing and stuff, and we came to LA to do some writing for Quincy Jones, for Tevin Campbell and Tamia, and I wrote some songs for them. And Quincy Jones ended up signing me as a writer and as a writer and vocal producer before the Tyler Perry thing. So I was already in LA doing that first, in between the Fred Hammond. And, so I'd already started moving forward in the R&B and, getting my name out there like that. And then the Tyler thing happened. So it kind of brought me back into more of at the time, he was a lot more spiritual gospel-y, so that side of things. But yeah, I was comfortable with it, man. I was ready to do it. I didn't know that when I came for the audition at Tyler's house, I came and I was thinking I got the job because they called me, they flew me, he was like, Terrell, we know you. So I came in and there was all these guys sitting out, but I knew it was, for a production of the whole family reunion. Well, I'm sitting out there and I sang. And so Tyler said something, and then Tam was like, yeah, that's Terrell. And then, so he brings me out to where all the guys and people were sitting. And he says, hey, guys, I just want you guys to know that everybody's here for the role of Corey Jeffries. It was like maybe 17, 18 people. He said, he just took y'all role and leaves me in there with the guys, closed the door, and they went back in the room. And I'm standing there like, and so the people just looking at me like, what the hell? I said, okay. So that was the first experience I had working with Tyler Perry. And and I could hear them behind me in the door just laughing. I was like, what is that to do with someone? He's like, he just took the role. I didn't know that they were all there for that specific role, but I was so blessed to be the one to get it.
Oh man. Wait. That is funny.
I know.
That's crazy. But even in that experience though, and even moving forward, right? Even for the future role of Terrell Carter as we see today, what did you learn in that moment about you that you didn't already know?
Ironically, you know what? It's a reminder of something that happened today. I just had an audition for this huge television show. And, you know, it doesn't matter how big you are, how much I've done this with Empire and all of these other shows. There's a huge show and they were calling me back. And it's like the difference is, you know, the level is different because now I don't go through all of the other auditions. I go straight to the producers and the actors, you know, or whoever's writing this show. And even though I can't say what it's for, when I first started the audition, I said one or two lines wrong. I got a little, you know, flubbed. And I thought to myself, wow, it wasn't that I, you know, and a lot of people, that's you're humble. You're being humble. You're being humbled. No, I messed up. And that reminded me that it is okay to do that. You know, when I did, I said, oh, you know what? Let's start over one more time. But on the inside, you know, you do feel, you know, because it does get easier. I don't usually get, you know, butterflies, but sometimes, you know, you still have that feeling like, you know, I mess up. Now, you can't be out there messing up all the time. But what I learned about myself in that moment of standing there with Tyler and all that, it wasn't about, even though the little joke was funny, I thought to myself, as much as you love the Stevies and the Arethas and the Clarks and all these people, you have a place. There is a place for you. It may be just starting, but the man that you're going to be 10 years from now, 20 years from now, starts here. You know, and it's just as important. You know, you're still, you know, Stevie started somewhere. Aretha started somewhere. Tyler started. I was lucky enough to, you know, blessed enough to be there when he started, to see where this man is now. So at that moment, it let me know, stop trying to mimic this one. Stop trying to be this and be that. Just go do what you do. There is no blueprint to be Terrell Carter. And go ahead and bump your head and figure it out. And that's what I learned in that moment.
Whoa. It's like an aha moment sometimes.
Yes,
right.
It is
a reflective moment sometimes in that.
Yeah.
Do you think that you're a star?
Do I think if I'm a star? You know what? When you think about that, it's like you see yourself every day. There's times when I've gone to the grocery store yesterday and I was talking to a lady and she's taking my stuff and we're laughing and then she just stops and she says, wait a minute, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I think that I've never gone for the fame, you know, and it just wasn't my thing. You know, I thought when it says your gift will make room for you, I just was like, wow, it did. It just did. So I never, you know, and sometimes I have to remind myself that I'm me. So I don't, you know, less now because I'm, you know, not at the same place as that I was when you're a lot younger, you're doing, you know, crazy stuff. But at this point in my life, I have to remind myself sometimes, but you know, that I'm me. No, you don't need to, you just said no. And there's no reason for you to have any explanation, you know, and there's certain things about your life and who you are. You have to remember that you are not the type of person that stands in the middle of a crowd and nobody notices. You know, they do notice, you know, and not only because of that, but I'm also 6'5", you know, and so you don't disappear in the room. So yeah, I believe at this point in my life, call it star, call it whatever you want to call it, I am well-deserved of everything that's coming my way, of everything, every accolade, everything that people say, everything that I really have put in my dues, you know, I have. And so absolutely I do. I know that. I don't even think it. I don't wonder. I am definitely at that point where I have notoriety and I am okay with that. Saying that. Yes.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
Because that definition, just like success, right? Success looks different for each and every one of us. And I put that in the same category as being a star, right? We define it differently. We tell ourselves what that is, and we line up with what that is for ourselves. And I am it. You can't tell me any differently. I am it. So you've done so many different things, from Tyler Perry to, again, movies to sitcoms. One role I had to talk about is Empire.
Yeah.
Sir, how was that whole experience for you?
A roller coaster. It was a wonderful experience working with everybody.
Right.
Everyone in the industry. I mean, like everyone that you can ever say, I want to work with this person. I worked with on one show, Terrence Howard, who is an amazing human being. Terrence Howard welcomed me, like he came and said, "Wait, you're the guy," because I came in on the finale show of season 3, and then I came back. So I hadn't met anyone. I did my stuff except for Alicia Rashad, and I knew Jesse already. And Terrence Howard was like, "Oh my God, I hope you stay around forever, for the rest of the show. Like, you brought a brand new energy, and we're so excited." It was my first table read, and so for somebody to do that, my first table read, with Empire.
Right.
So for someone to come like that, he was always a wonderful person. Alicia Rashad, oh my God,
legend. One of the most.
The first time we were doing our first scene together, when she was playing my Aunt Diana, and it was after I sang in the club to Jesse and kind of reeled him in. And so then the next scene you see is me, telling her, "Oh yeah, I got it." Blah, 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 blah. So when we first started that and they said action, I just said, and she said, "Hold on, what's wrong, darling?" I said, "God, you are Alicia Rashad." I said, "Excuse me, I got it out. Let's try this." And we laugh at it now, but she was so like angelic. I asked her, I said, "Let's do the backstory." I wanted to, we were riding together in the van to go to the set, and I was thinking, you don't want to talk to him too much. You don't want to say, because you just don't know. You're thinking, "Oh my God, this is Felicia." And she's on the phone and she gets off, and I said, "I just wanted to say I'm playing, your nephew." And she said, yeah. I said, "I wanted to get an idea of what our family is, so I can, put it in my mind." And then I'm thinking, she said, "Oh, well, she says, 'Oh, darling.'" And that "oh, darling" lasted 2.5 hours. And when she was done, that was my girl. I would just, when we go to lunch, we'd be shooting, we'd be at lunch, I'm sitting at the table, the first day, I didn't know anyone, really. And it was just, I'm sitting at the table, she comes and sits with me and leans over on the table, eating crackers, talking to me and talking about how she made a pot of greens and, but she was just great. And she taught me so many things about the elegance that she shared. She was such a good example, I remember when I didn't know if my character was going to get killed off and everything. I said, "Oh my God, I hope I don't get killed off today. I really want this to go a long way." And she was like, "You know what? We come and we go. And there will always be other things." She said, "Look at these chairs." She said, "Look at these chairs. Your chair says Terrell Carter. My chair says guest star." After I had told her one day, I said, "You were a hero to me. When I was a kid, I didn't see anything around me in my neighborhood or my family that looked like the Cosby Show or what you represented. And it let me know that there was something else out there." She says, "And isn't that amazing how you're sitting right here looking at me? And your chair says, your name in mine says guest star." When she said that, it wasn't even a pat on my back, but it was letting you know again who you are. It's like, it is. My grandmother told me one time, she says, Terrell, when you wanted to do gospel, you started with Fred Hammond and Kirk Franklin. You did R&B, you went to P. Diddy and Dr. Dre, and you wanted to write music. Quincy Jones signed you. You started to do theater plays, Tyler Perry took you. You started to do movies, Tyler Perry. Then you wanted to do sitcoms, Empire. She says, at some point, you got to realize that you've always been chosen by the best. that lets you know the caliber of person and talent that you are. Sometimes the times, and that was during the times when I would, you know, you're thinking, well, okay, well, what's next for me? Or the phone hasn't ring in a month. And then I'm thinking, you know, whatever, doesn't matter anymore. It does not matter. There is no explanation for where and who I am other than the fact that I am favored, and it is in the plan and the fabric of who Terrell Carter, and that doesn't change. You know, it doesn't change if the phone hasn't rang in a month. It does not change. It does not change if you're going through a situation that you're off of a show and you in between shows and trying to figure out what's next. I have not forget arrived. I had arrived the moment I left home and started working with Fred Hammond. It already was there, you know. So I just seize the moment, see and believe in it, and walk in it, you know.
Yeah, and you're continuously walking as well, Terrell, because again, we always see you on that television. We always see you when we stream. What are you working on now?
I have 2 series that I'm working on. There's one on, you know what? I can't say, but I'll say this. One's a Netflix series. One's a Netflix series, and yeah, it's premature to say that one. And then I am here writing and producing my own films. So I have a film. Yes, that's the reason that I kind of picked up shop and came here, because I'm working with some different producers. Man Robinson, I don't know if you guys, well, Google it. You guys know he's a producer here who does a lot of stuff. Got his own, you know, studio and everything here, and we've teamed up to do some stuff together. And I've written a film that we're getting ready to shoot. It's a crazy thriller. You know, my first thriller that I've written, and we're going to shoot that very, very soon, within about a week and a half. You know, so I'm going to do that. I just did a film, a series that I wrote with Fred Hammond, who it's myself, Fred Hammond, Tamika Scott from Escape, and I'm playing this psychotic, schizophrenic singer who had a big nervous breakdown. He was this beautiful dude who was all, you know, he was all over the place and in drugs and everything. And he was on an all-time high, and something happened where it all came crashing down one night. And he's been a hermit in his house for 2.5 years. And I got the big hair is all matted and the beard is all matted. I'm looking all dirty and crazy. And I'm, you know, I have all of these psychotic visions, and, you know, I live there with my wife, but there's some secrets that I can't tell you because it'll give it away. It's going to blow your mind. It is one of the best things that I work. Fred Hammond is directing it. And when I tell you he's directing the hell out of this, yes, he is. So I'm excited about that. And that's premature, but I can kind of tell y'all. It's called Bullies of the Mind. And it's ridiculous. So yeah, I'm doing my own things. And it's great to have a piece of the pie that you own versus being hired by someone else.
Gotcha. It's like, and especially with that project with Fred Hammond, it's like a full circle moment. As
it is full circle moment when at the end of my book that I wrote, you see where I left home in my car and got lost, but I was going to live in Detroit and work with Fred Hammond. And ironically, on my move to Atlanta cross country, I drove, and I came through Dallas, driving again to Fred. 25 years later, driving to Fred. Wow, it was so touching because we talked about it. We ended up in tears. He says, I sent you off 25 years ago after you drove to come be with me and work with me, and now you're driving back 25 years later to work with me, and now I'm working with you. I said, wow. He says, I could not be prouder, you know, and he is everything that you think he is. Fred Hammond is. And we fight, don't get me wrong. We fight because working with him, you know, I'm you know, I've grown. I'm not the little boy as much anymore. However, it's like we fight because I have to fight myself to still think that because my mind always goes straight to, oh my God, that's Fred. That's my big brother. Like, I'm gonna just, you know, I'm gonna sit here. I mean, like, you know, so I have to just be like, okay, yes, Terrell, put that aside. We gotta tell him what you think about this. But when I tell you, this man is just one of the most talented human beings I know. He is.
Oh, this is some good stuff. Again, I love these reflective moments, right? Because sometimes we get so busy within our own lives, we forget how much we've come thus far, right? And how those moments can even help us move forward into what we're looking forward to in our future. And this stage in your life, Terrell, are you proud of yourself?
Absolutely. At this stage in my life, I it's not that I don't dream, but I would sell myself short. The things that I've done and been a part of and that I was blessed to be granted were bigger than my wildest dreams. There's no way I can sit here and be like, I want to do that tomorrow. Why? Because every time that I've even had that thought, I've done this. I've worked with this person. I've been a part of this. You know, my grandmother, before she passed away, told me, she was like, you're like Forrest Gump. And I said, what do you mean? She says, you remember how you watched the movie? And he was just always in the right place at the right time for the best thing for him to happen. He never failed. He was just always in the midst of something. The lights across the street, he turned on, he told the people to turn, it's Nixon watching in the Watergate, the bubble gum thing. He ran into the guy, did they make this thing? And then there's the biggest friend. She says, you just always, I had a chance to work with Fred and then Quincy and all of these people and sing with Whitney Houston the last day she sang before she, just, always a part of these things. Tyler Perry, look at what, from the beginning, at some point you have to say, yeah, this ain't nothing that I'm doing. It ain't even about deserve. It isn't even about deserve. I am favored in a way that it's unbelievable. And I'm amazed at it. Absolutely.
Amen, my brother. Amen. Yes, sir. It's funny that you say the word dream. I love that word, and this is what this show stands for. In persons and following their dreams. I love to talk about it. Yeah, I wrote a song a few years ago, which is not my theme song, about your dreams coming true, biggest dreams coming true. Are you living in your dream?
I'm living above my dream. I can't say I've done everything that I want, but I'm doing things that I didn't know. Maya Angelou said something to Oprah Winfrey when she did her school. Oprah Winfrey did her schools in Africa. And she says, oh my God, I'm so excited. This is my legacy. And she said, don't you ever stop yourself and say to yourself that that's your legacy. That you have just put a cap on it. And so for me, if I say I'm living my dream, I've just capped everything. I'm living this. I'm on now. It's like Tina Turner was saying, this is just the gravy now. I'm just getting started. I really believe that.
That's amazing. So what is that next biggest dream?
I think that it was producing my own stuff now, but now that it's happening, but it happened so much faster than I thought. Being in Atlanta is a lot different for me than being in LA. I'm coming from the land of Tyler Perry. Being that person, and then once you're on Empire and network TV and all of those other things, it opens up a lot more doors. Your star is a lot bigger in this pond. So it works out for me, to be able to work with different producers and different production companies and get my projects, out there. So, I mean, I've written 3, 4 films and they're already happening. So my dreams right now is to really get my films out there, because then I can, and as Fred and I did this, that was my first film that I wrote, and then we turned it into a series because it was so much after we filmed it. And I realized, yeah, I need to do this because I can interpret what I can do, and what Fred and I have just accomplished. There is nothing that I've done that's better than the performances that I've done in that, in my opinion. I have 1 or 2 films I did. I did this film with Golden Brooks from Girlfriends, and it's called Everything That Glitters. We have some scenes in this film that were the best scenes that I think I've had in different movies because it stretches me. I wasn't just a good-looking guy or the husband and just say 2 lines or, hey, no, I was, something else. So, yeah.
And excited to look at what's to come for you. We talked about your films. Will new music be coming out for Terrell in 2020?
Yes, I am working on new music. I'm working on new music, and I'm finally coming with, I've just done, like I said, I've done so much because I've also done so many songs and done like everything I wanted to do. Music. I just did what I wanted for a while too, where I was like, you know what, these are the songs I want. I don't care what radio, what's this, what's that. And we're on streaming now anyway, so if I want to deliver this kind of song, I'm going to do that. And now I'm really going to get that team together to produce something that's still me, but having the musicians and the right music and the right everything to where it's coming out and it's going to be A-class, top notch. And I have that push behind me where I can really give them something that I haven't given. So yes, I'm working on music right now.
All right, come on. Those persons that are looking at this interview right now and they're saying, I want to be like him when I grow up. I want to pursue those things. I want that faith that he has. What would you say to the individual?
I want to say to you, and I'm glad you asked me that. What I would say to those individuals that would say, I want to be like that, or I want to be like him, whatever they was that they put it together. I want you to this is my only advice. I don't like to give people advice. I like to just share my experience. But this is what I had to tell myself. There was times when I've come this far and I say I had like the audition I had earlier, and I was just a little nervous and I had to sit myself down about 2 months ago and say, what happened to that boy that left home at 17 and jumped in the air and never thought, my grandmother and I had the best relationship. But when I was leaving home at 17 to go work with Fred and he had, and I left, she said, you're about to jump off of a mountain and you don't even know if nobody's down there to catch you with a net. I said, Ma, you know what? The funny thing is I had that same thought. I said, and you know what I thought? I'm about to jump off of a mountain. How am I going to fly before I hit the ground? I never thought of anyone else catching me. I told her, I said, you have to believe, you have to have that faith, that undeniable faith in yourself in a way that's blind. I never even thought to myself that it wouldn't happen. Now, and so I had to sit myself down 2 or 3 months ago and say, you have to have that kind of faith in yourself again. And it's not that I didn't have it, but I was thinking, oh my God, I wrote the script and what if they don't like it? There was times, man, if you're that person and this is what you think, I'm going to say, remind yourself when you're like a kid, kids don't know the boundaries of life. So they want something. It's no reason in their minds that they shouldn't have it. That's manifestation. And so you have to just have blind faith, trusting Terrell. You wrote the script. If they don't like it, she does. If he doesn't like it, they will. And if they don't like it, something will happen. And if you don't get on that show, this will happen. And now that when I look back over my life, so it's cliche. The truth of it is, it has always happened that way. With Empire, I'll just say, I went out for the television show Star, and Lee Day, I walk in and it was for the father was a rapist to one of the girls. He was mean to her. So I walk in and he was like, you look like you should be one of the girl's boyfriend. You're just too model-esque. And he had never seen me before. And he says, well, go ahead and do it. And I did the audition and he was like, wow, your voice and your way you came at, and he says, you scared. Like, I love it. He says, I'm going to remember you. Now, I didn't want to hear that bull crap. I was like, wait a minute, I'm going to remember you. And then the role came up for Warren Hall, playing opposite Jesse and Felicia Rashad. And he did. So you may not get it today. It may not happen when you want to, but it's always on time. Yep.
Your talents, your gifts will make
room for you. And God is so good. Somebody said this to me before, and it's a friend of mine. We're not even friends anymore. He made me so mad, but he said this, and it made so much sense. He says, isn't it crazy how people say, that God is always on time, but when you need something, when you need that check to pay the rent, when you need this, he says, the thing that amazes me is that in order for that check to have come that day, and everybody celebrates the fact that when they open the box, it's there. But in order for it was being processed 3 months ago. it's like,
yeesh.
Excuse me. That's who holds my future. And I know that. You know, I'm not religious at all. At all. I am a spiritual man who understands that, you know, I have so far to go, so many things to work on, so many personal things that I wish that was so much better. And every day I try to be a little bit better. Sometimes I don't. However, I know who holds my future. There's no way there's no other explanation for my life and the things that have happened for me than that there is another hand holding mine.
And let the church say amen on that. I just want to say thank you so much for gracing the platform today. I've learned so much about you. We see you on television, but we only see one part of you. But I love these conversations where we can have the other side come out as well. So I thank you for just being you, genuine, authentic, honest you, Terrell Carter. How can we find you on social media?
Well, you can find me on Terrell Music, Terrell Music, on Facebook, of course. Other than that, I had a TikTok. I don't have it at TikTok anymore, so I will have that. Also, you need to go and get my book, because then you can see, you know, you can read about my story. I gave you a little bit of it, you know, gave everybody a little bit of it, but just my story is my mom was 11 years old, special needs, one leg amputated at birth. And my father was 26 and he molested her and she was 11. And she was just a baby that they were supposed to be taking care of. And they're from the same family. So it's through marriage incestual. And, you know, it was a story that I was so embarrassed to tell. But, you know, a lady asked me in an interview, she says, with the cards that you dealt, how did you know, go on? You going, the hell with the cards that I was dealt. I could have been like my mom. I could have been, if those are the cards that I was dealt, but this is the man that God made me to be able to go and figure it out with. All of this, I come from a broken vessel. They can find me. They can read my story. It's called Problem Child. It's in Barnes & Noble. It's on Amazon. But you can find me at Terrell Music everywhere. And I truly appreciate you for having me.
So welcome. That means you have to come back.
Yes, I'll come back.
That means you have to come back as well. Thank you so much. And it reminded me of the song of one of my favorite gospel songs. God made me. He made me who I am. So I'm a conqueror. I'm victorious. I don't have to be what you think I am, but I am me.
Yes.
So thank you. Thank you for that awesome reminder. Think fam, don't go away. Back in a moment.
Soy Antonio Vergara, un saludo desde la mitad del mundo y los invito a que vean mi entrevista y que sigan viendo los programas de Michael Finkley.
Hello everyone, my name is Antonio Vergara and I'm here in Ecuador, and I invite you all to watch my interview with Michael Finkley and to keep watching his show. Thank you.
Hi guys, welcome to Awaken. We wanted to serve the city of Mullins. We are church owned, and we felt like a coffee shop was such a huge need in the city of Mullins. There's nowhere for people to just come, get a cup of coffee, sit with friends, maybe do some work on the laptop. And so we feel like it was a service that we could give back to the city. Well, our hope is that people will feel calm, that they'll feel welcome, that it'll be a place where they can come and just clear their mind.
We come here twice a day. That's how good their smoothies, their coffee, their lattes, frappes, delicious. I would love the atmosphere here. If I had time to come and just sit and relax, I would. It's awesome.
One thing that I really love about it being here is just the cozy environment. It's so inviting. I can come in here and I can get my schoolwork done, a good coffee and a good meal. But I'm just really thankful that they're here and that I have a good place to go.
We're open Tuesday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. and Saturday from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Awaken Coffee Bar, downtown Mullins.
Next, Finkley. Host and author Justin Ford is with us. He talks about his YouTube series and his amazing children's book. Plus, Derek Washington tells us about his read-along children's show and the amazing children's books that he's authored. Monday,